We always offer a drink that brush up. Ms. Hopen, I'll ask the committee members here to introduce themselves and what role they play in our district.
Hello, glad you're here today. I'm Ann Graham, and I'm the Director of Special Education.
I'm Dr. Shanta Smith, and I'm the principal of this lovely leadership academy here at the Stella campus.
And Dr. Gunn is not here. She is. She's Assistant Superintendent in charge of elementary, and I'm Assistant Superintendent in charge of secondary, but the two of us do the interviews together as much as possible. Well, Abbie, to get started, what makes you the best candidate for this position?
I feel like I am very versatile with my teaching styles. I feel like I can mold to whatever programs and teaching decisions you guys have decided on with your school. I am always up to learning new techniques and new ways to teach, especially young children, because they're ever evolving, especially with technology these days. I feel that I can better your school by being a newer teacher, as I just graduated, because it brings a fresh face and a different perspective into the school.
Well, Abbie, so what's your thoughts about the better teachers? They don't have something to offer?
Oh, they definitely do. They have the experience that I strive to be, like, in the end, when I am a better teacher. But they also, sometimes they are a little bit outdated. But I feel like I can come in and show them, hey, this is a cool way to do the same thing, but just in a newer, more modern.
Thank you.
What you'll see me doing, so don't be dismayed. I like to scribe as you answer, so I want to make sure when we recap at the end that I make sure that I'm clear with everything that you said. So the question I have for you, if I spoke with your students, operating teacher, your university supervisor, your principal, colleagues, or friends, what 3 words would they use to describe you?
I would use confident, definitely, because I feel like I can go into a room and take control if I need to, but I can also step back and be a follower as well. I feel like I'm also a very ambitious person. I like to be involved in many things at the same time. I was always like that since middle school. I liked to be in all the clubs I could be in. And I feel like I'm also very just a kind person, and I like working with young children, and I understand that they have not experienced as much as I have throughout their lives.
And if you were confronted by an angry parent or colleague on an issue, how would you best respond?
I think it would depend on the issue. I would definitely talk to them one-on-one and understand why they're frustrated and what I could do to better my teaching and better their students' education, because that's what comes first.
Thank you.
Okay, Abbie, what instructional strategies have you found most effective?
I like really using small group work, especially with young children, because they have different outlooks on different topics. So some of them may say we're working on spiders. Some of them may have never seen a spider, but some of them may say, oh, I've touched a spider before. So they can kind of learn from each other, which is awesome. And they also need to learn how to communicate respectfully with each other, because some of them may have never had that opportunity to talk to other students their age.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and add this one. Since you're a new college graduate, what specific strategies would you use to assist students who are struggling in reading?
In reading has been very important since this is the foundation and you get a lot of information from the other subjects through reading. I would a certain sound that they struggle with. It also depends on the age of the student. If they're just starting out to read, basically, I would work on their sounds. If they are confused with sounds of their letters, I would go way back and start with the basics and then work my way up until I find that gap of knowledge that they need to have bridged.
And that's where you put the intervention, that's where the intervention would start.
Yeah, I would see where they are right now and then work my way down to figure out where they lacked the knowledge or missed the gist of a lesson at some point to help bring them back into their education.
What type of classroom management plan?
Definitely like when the classroom is running like a democracy, I like to have the students' opinions on everything that goes on in the classroom. Whether it's a bulletin board, if we want to use, say, for the spring, if we want to do flowers, but maybe they want to do bugs instead, I would definitely have their opinion in everything that goes on in the classroom. I'd also talk to them about making the rules of the classroom. I feel like that's very important to show ownership of the rules in our classroom. So the first week of school, we would talk about what would we like our rules to be. If they think that raising their hand is not important at that time, we won't put it on our rule list, but then maybe later in the semester, they will realize that maybe we should add this rule because it's not working out for our class. I definitely think they should have a very big input on the classroom.
Thank you.
Well, wait a minute, I got a question. Classroom management. Very incorrect. How long would you go with that input, what grade level and how time? Because I know you're interviewing for a secondary job, but we might have to really use fifth grade, we might have to use again first grade. So are you saying that classroom management plan would work for all grade levels or just the one that you're interviewing?
I definitely believe so. We actually use this in one of my college classes where we talked to our teacher and we made our rules, like we need to be timely, we thought, okay, these 5 things are the most important things in our classroom. We wrote them on a piece of poster board and hung it on the wall so we all could see every day when we walked in that we prepared, you need to be on time. And it worked really well with our class. So I feel like it could go from, the little ones would need a little bit more prompting. Like, do we want to be able to stand up whenever we want? And we're going to, no, we're going to sit down and, okay, we're going to stay in our seats when asked so that we can write down. So I feel like with the right prompting, you can use it for any grade level.
If you were doing something for students that you knew was right, and I'm like a rebel, so I mean, you knew was right, I'm being very serious at this point, let me tell you. If I know something is right, even though they're my supervisors, I will, it's just me. I'm not saying it's you, but if I know it's right for kids, I can convince them at a later date as to why I did what I did. So if you know something is right, but your principal tells you not to do it, you should stop. What type of action would you take?
I definitely believe that you should look for research behind anything that you are doing in the classroom. If you are doing a new technique, definitely find research and data that supports what you're doing and supports the learning of all the students in your class. So basically, I would go up to the principal and say, I'm going to pull together some information on why I'm teaching this way or why I'm doing this strategy, and then I would go back and present that to the principal and to whoever else. Maybe another teacher is interested in what I'm doing, and maybe they want to see why I've decided to teach my class that way. So I would do that as well.
While he's thinking of the question, get ready. Get ready. We're now experiencing turbulent times in the U.S. There's a division with this country because of the new president-elect. And as a result of that division, we are experiencing
have you heard it on TV? Obviously, he or she has heard it from the president-elect, which is a real thing in our country, and it's going to happen. But I think we'll have a positive relationship with all my students, so I can talk to them and I can be like, that's not something we say at school. Those aren't school appropriate words. Those aren't nice to say. And I would talk to them and be like, why do you think that this person can't speak English? This person has the same rights as you do, even though you are different skin colors, different ethnicities, different genders. So I definitely promote equality in my classroom and make sure I can talk to all my students the way that they need to be talked.
Yes, that's my off-the-cuff question.
What is PBIS?
PBIS is Positive Behavior Intervention System, and I've been in a school, I've observed in a school where it has been used before. It was actually in Jackson, Missouri. It was very interesting because I've never seen.
Now, you know, using Jackson here, and be very careful, they're our biggest rival. But you go ahead and
Anyway, I've seen it been implemented in Jackson, Missouri, actually with a 3-year-old and 4-year-old preschool class. So they use the PBIS system word for words, but they also use pictures for the students because they can't read. So they don't understand that those words mean something. So every week we would start with a new rule, a new governance of the school, and we would talk about it. Like, what does it mean to stand in line? What does it mean? Do we touch each other when we stand in line? No. Do we do this in line? No. So I think definitely PBIS is a great, and it helps prevent a lot of misbehaviors because then the students know how to behave. If you don't tell them how to stand in line, they're not going to know. They're going to test the limits and see what they can do.
Abbie, if you had a student in your class that you noticed was struggling, so much so that you suspected that there may be a disability under IDEA, what would be your process? What would you do in a situation such as that?
I definitely would not shy away from it. If I suspect that a student needs extra help, I'm going to figure out the appropriate testing procedures and the appropriate people to talk to get that student the services that he or she needs. I actually had this experience as well in Jackson with a younger child who needed to be in a special ed classroom. And we worked with her. We tried every intervention we could, and then we finally had to say, it's above what we can do. We need to get her tested for the next step. We've tried this, we had a list of stuff we did, how it came out, and then we showed that to the special ed, the process coordinator, and she tested the child furtherly and also moved her to the special ed classroom.
If that child then ended up with an IEP, what would be your responsibility, provided that that child did still have you as a teacher?
Definitely follow the IEP, teach that student just the same way that you would teach any other, but understand that that student does have an IEP and you need to address that in the classroom along with all the other students.
As Dr. Gunn is getting ready, we're going to give her a moment, and I want you to reflect and think about this. We often hear individuals use the word cooperative learning, and they really think they know what that process is. But from your perspective and your experience, explain to us how you can utilize cooperative learning effectively in your classroom.
Cooperative learning is very important, especially now. I used to, actually in elementary school, I had a class where we were in rows and we did not talk to each other, and I realized I did not like that. I am very Vygotskian, as one of my professors would say. I like to talk, I like to think out my ideas. When I think of a lesson plan, I like to call my mom and I like to talk it through. I'm like, does this make sense? And she's like, well, this all does, but this doesn't. So then I think, okay, maybe that doesn't make sense. Maybe it made sense in my head, but not to someone else. So I definitely think cooperative learning is talking to people, having students talk to students, just basically working with each other to better education of all students.
Let me ask you this. How would you motivate a reluctant learner?
I would find something that student wants to learn about. You're not going to learn about stuff that you don't care about because it's not fun for you. I definitely find a topic or a subject that I could use with the entire important part of the class. So I definitely would try, and I wouldn't do it for every little thing, but I would definitely, if there was a reluctant learner that is just, I don't want to say defiant, but does not want to do anything and just keeps pushing and pushing, I would definitely work my best to make sure that student knows learning is fun, and this is why it can be fun, because you can learn about all kinds of different things.
Describe what a PLC is.
A PFC is a professional learning community. They work together to look at data and decide how they're going to teach their students. And they also use, PLCs also go hand in hand with RTI, which they have the 3-tiered system, which most of the students are in tier 1, which is 85% of them. And then if those students, if you have those 15% that need to get more help, you move to the tier 2, which has about 10% of the students. And you do more small group and more focused attention, which would be kind of like reading groups. And then you would also move up to tier 1 if that student is still not getting the information they need, and do individualized lessons. Maybe you also pull them out and have them work with maybe a pair one-on-one, or with myself one-on-one to give them the information that they need.
So have you worked in a PLC?
I have not personally, but I've worked in the RTI as when I was in Jackson at Wesley in a 4th grade classroom. We worked with RTI, and she would give me a different variety of groups. She was, okay, this time you're going to have the higher group, and I'm going to work with these 3 students. You're going to have 6 to 10 students, and then she would do it like that.
Abbie, what's the difference in formative and summative assessments?
Formative assessments is kind of like the informal assessment, what you do when you're talking, like if I was teaching a lesson, say on division, moving on to division, talking about it, and ask the students, are you still with me? Do you still understand what I'm talking about? And then I would do either like a thumbs up or thumbs down, or a rating scale like 5 being I get it, 4 no, not so much, and then all the way down to 1 being like help, I don't know what's going on. So I feel like summative assessment, especially for a teacher, is really good to get immediate feedback to figure out, okay, whatever I just said confused the students, so I need to move on and figure out, go back and reteach that part and see, and then ask them the same question and see if that I figure out the answer. And then formative assessments is at the end of a lesson when you're going to basically figure out how the students did. Did they actually grasp the concept, or were they not grasping it at all during the, because sometimes students lie. They'll tell you that they get it and then they don't actually get it.
So, may I add to their, so you give a summative assessment and they didn't get it. So what are you going to do? I mean, there's a test coming out. Every student has to take that test, and by golly, my district to do well. So what are you going to do?
I would go back and look at the tests that the summative assessment that I've given, and figure out what questions are they missing. Are they all missing the same question, or are they sporadic? I would look at the data and figure out, okay, what do I need to do to better the students' understanding of this topic? So if it was division, we would talk about, okay, do they get the first step? Do they understand this concept? And then we can all work it together and say, like, okay, they get this part. Then you work, and like, I would definitely have them show their work, especially with math, because it'd be easy for me to see, okay, this is where they lost it, this is where this person doesn't get it, this is where this person, then I can go back and either reteach or do an RTI system where I let the students that understand it move on, and then help these students catch up to where those other students are.
So that you can continue teaching what you need to teach.
Yeah. I would take a data review basically and figure out, make sure everyone's on the same page and then move on.
We have these lovely tech apps. They're pretty cool, huh? If you went to your Facebook or your IG account right now, you find something alarming where we would say that you are not the candidate for this job. Because if that is, you're getting squashed. Just like, you know. We're serious about technology. I want you to fully understand this. And we do not allow teachers to use these gadgets during instructional time. Our IT coordinator down the way from Dr. Miller, they monitor that. So I'm just forewarning you, because some people try to sneak and get on technology. And I want you to fully understand, if it's in policy, it says you shouldn't be on IG, you shouldn't be
probably, not appropriate in some way, because that's sometimes what happens. Some people live post inappropriate things.
She just changed the grandma road, didn't she? You know the grandma road? You eat your eats, then you can have your soda. Now you said, I wouldn't post anything in grandma business at all.
What instructional strategies have you found to be effective in your field experiences and in your student teaching?
I found many instructional strategies to be effective. We actually spoke about this earlier before we got here. I really like working with small groups and having students talk to each other, and I mentioned that I really like by talking, having students talk and work together collaboratively throughout their entire time in the classroom. Granted, yes, you need to do individual work, but having them edit each other's papers or work with each other on spelling work is a great way to help them lock in the knowledge that we're trying to get them to understand. That's one of my favorites. I have also used whole group instruction, which is great to get some basic information out to the students, but sometimes I also like to let them, I don't want to say struggle, but find out information on their own. Give them a problem and see if they can find out the solution and what solution they would come up with, and then share with the class and do more whole group instruction on why this would work compared to this.
You talked about analyzing data, how you apply it. Maybe, do you have any questions that maybe are not, maybe you already did this, but I'll open it up to the other committee members. Do you have any questions that aren't listed there?
So she's already talked about analyzing data?
She did somewhat about, if you want to.
Did she talk about how she applied it to her teaching?
You want me to explain them? Okay, so I have used data to actually do a counting lesson with my preschool students in this past semester, where we took and we asked them to count and see how high they can count, and then we worked on that data. Okay, these students can count up to 5, these students can count up to 10. So we're not going to work with the students that can already count to 10 on counting to 10. We're going to push them and see if they can count to 20 or work on to 15, and then we're going to take the students that cannot yet count to 10 and work them up to counting to 10 and talk about these are numbers and they mean something, talking about them in correspondence and things of that nature. I definitely will use the data to make group decisions and also individualize instruction for all of my students.
Do you have any more questions? Do you assess before you teach or after you teach?
I assess before, after, and during. I like to make sure they are understanding what I am saying throughout the lesson, but I also like to start and know, okay, do they know anything about, say, we're talking about butterflies. Do they know anything about butterflies besides that they fly? No? Okay, then we're going to go really in depth in the butterfly lesson. But if they already have a basic understanding, and say in the class before they did a whole unit on butterflies and they've got, people talk about maybe the migration of butterflies and maybe what eats butterflies or what they eat, and something that they have not yet known. So it definitely, I don't want to reteach and be redundant to the students because they're going to get bored and we're going to lose their attention. So definitely trying to figure out if they know the information, then we're going to move on to a different topic, but if they don't, then we're going to go and revisit that and figure out, okay, this is the best way to teach the students about this topic.
I'm gonna ask, you were doing something for students, describe the challenge you encountered during student teaching, and what did you learn from it?
One challenge that I had was actually in my 3-year-old classroom, I had a student that did not want to listen to me. He would just sit there and just would not. I didn't know why. But one day during free play, I sat next to him and we were playing with some Mr. Potato Head dolls, and we were putting the pieces on, and he thought it was really funny. And it was interesting because the next day he was, Miss Abbie, can I help you with that, Miss Abbie? And he was actually talking to me and wanted to help me and wanted to. So I realized that relationships are really important. That was one of the most challenging things. I was like, oh, I just had to play with him one time, and he totally wants to be engaged with me and wants to know what I know. So definitely I would use relationships in the classroom, like build strong relationships and get to know all those students. Because this was earlier in the semester when I've only been there 4 or 5 times and I'm still a stranger to him. So so it was great to see him finally like open up and come out of the shell and not be defiant anymore.